Maria Prekeges, and welcome to NFR Extra, where it's all dirt, all rodeo, all year. I'm excited to have a couple general managers with me. George Combs of the Reno Rodeo, and of course James Miller from the Red Bluff Roundup. Say that 5 times fast, gentlemen. I like it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, general manager of rodeos, both of your rodeos are very good size. What does it take? We'll start with you, George.
It's not really a job, it's a lifestyle. You have to live it day in, day out, 24 hours a day, 52 weeks a year. It's a great way to give back to the communities and help with the volunteers that we have, but it is a full-time job.
It is a full-time job. This I know. I've seen you all in action. And James, George mentioned volunteers. I mean, it takes more than a village, more than an army. It just takes a lot of people.
It does. And for us at Red Bluff, we're a community of 14,000 people, and we probably put our rodeo on with the least amount of volunteers compared to somebody like Reno. We're running about 350 volunteers right now, but it's definitely tough to put it together, and especially like we said in our small town. And it is a time of the year of our rodeo is a family gathering. I mean, it's the event of the whole entire town. So getting people to go ahead and be a volunteer during this time when they want to go party and have a good time and watch the exciting rodeo, it's tough to put the people together, but we've been successful.
Well, we're kind of representing you two with the smaller and then the larger rodeo. Tell me about Reno Rodeo. How long does it last, and what's so special about your rodeo?
Well, it's always been tagged as the wildest, richest rodeo in the West. We have over 1,000 volunteers, and we're a 10-day event. We start off with extreme bull riding and then 9 days of rodeo, and it has grown over the years. We're coming into our 100th year in 2019, so we're excited about that. But Reno is a destination city. People love to come to Reno. There's things to do. We're very fortunate we have Lake Tahoe, and people just love to come there. And so they plan their summer trip, and we're in June. This year, the 20th through the 29th. We're a little later than normal. We're the latest we can possibly be in the world of rodeo this year. Our dates just fall that way. So, but it's like James said, it does take a village of people to run the rodeo. I have 58 committees. We do 36 events in 12 days, and the rodeo counts as one.
That's only one. So you have 35 more you have to produce.
Correct.
That's amazing. And James, what makes the Red Bluff Roundup so special? Smaller rodeo, intimate, a little more intimate?
Yeah, our rodeo is, it's the largest 3-day rodeo in the country. We'll have 3 perfs compared to what George has, but we're going to be a lot longer performance. We run about 3.5, 4-hour performance, and there's nonstop action. I mean, there's never a stop moment. I mean, there's always something going on. We have a racetrack that runs around our arena, so there might be a race going on at the same time we're bucking saddle broncs. So you just never know what's going to happen at our rodeo. A
lot of action. All right, boys, how did you get started in this lovely, crazy business we like to call rodeo? George, we'll start with you.
Well, mine goes way back to growing up as a kid as a cowboy and competing through high school and amateur world. Never was good enough to compete at the professional level. Got involved and lived in Caldwell, Idaho. Got involved with their rodeo committee there as a volunteer, and realized what it was like to give back to the community. And it was a way, being in business for myself, it was a way for me to be around people, but also the giving back. It created a passion. I had the passion for the rodeo, but I didn't have the passion for what it means to the communities where these rodeos are. And so for the next 25 years I was there. I was president of that association twice and was their GM for 5 years. And then the opportunity came 4 years ago for me to move to Reno and become their GM. What a great experience it's been. So, and the passion in Reno and the Nevadans is unbelievable for what amount of hours of volunteer time that they put in.
Well, both in Reno, and everywhere. And what does it take, though, to motivate volunteers? We'll stick with you, George.
I think you get in the trenches with them. In Reno, you don't have to motivate. They're already motivated. They see, and as much as we give back in the communities through our rodeo association and also through our foundation, which is a separate 501c3, just tons of giving back. and the scholarships and the things that we do in the community. We're a non-stop, year-round. Reno Rodeo is in the forefront of everything that happens in Reno when it comes to giving back, and it's awesome.
Well, and a lot of people might not realize outside the rodeo world, rodeos, they do all this, to have fun and get the cowboys there, but most of them, if not all of them, have foundations and they give back to the community, whether it's the youth, scholarships, as you mentioned. James, tell me about Red Bluff and their mission.
So, and just like George said, and what you're saying too, is that's probably one of the biggest things for the rodeo committees is giving back to our community. Whether it's scholarships or it's helping out different clubs, different organizations in our community, or even nationwide, or even help put on an event here in Las Vegas to where we had a bunch of children that were battling cancer. I mean, just giving back in either financial or an experience to the people, and that's kind of the biggest thing for rodeo committees.
All right, we're going to stick with you, James. You're married to world champion barrel racer Nellie Miller. Are you Mr. Nellie Miller now?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I go by now, it seems like. So.
I love
and it's the biggest question I get everywhere I go now.
Well, I want to know, though, your history. I already interviewed her. We have her history. What's your history in rodeo and how'd you get started?
So I grew up in Florida, which is definitely a little further away than California, but I grew up and I team roped in high school rodeoed, and then I went to the pro rodeos in the Southeast Circuit and team roped there, and I always had a passion for rodeo, wanted to be involved in it. I was lucky enough to get ahead and meet Nellie, and I was affiliated with rodeo by sponsoring other rodeo contestants and events. Then we moved to California and had an opportunity to become the general manager of the Red Bluff Roundup, and I'm the first general manager that the Roundup's ever had.
And how do you two balance? You have two children. I know that Nellie's mom travels with her a lot because you're busy putting on rodeos and all year long, as we talked about earlier, organizing them throughout the year. How do you balance family and rodeo?
It's a pretty good position that I have, especially with what Nellie does and with our children. Our busy time is, and of course we're working on rodeo all year long, but our busiest time is in the beginning of the year, the first quarter. And then in the summertime we kind of slow down, and that gives me the opportunity to go with Nellie, but then also go to these other rodeo committees and visit them. We feed off of each other, rodeo committees, and we share a lot of ideas, things that work, things that don't work. George and I, we pretty much talk daily on the rodeo business and what can we do to help each other, or what might work for your rodeo might work for my rodeo. So it's been a pretty good deal.
Well, and you all want to grow the sport. And you two are here at the National Finals Rodeo. Besides talking amongst yourselves, what do you learn from the NFR that you might take back to Red Bluff?
Well, production's really pretty interesting here, but I don't know how much we learned from that one. I mean, it's so much fast-paced, especially compared to our rodeo at Red Bluff. The biggest thing for us, or at least for me, is the networking. We get to spend a lot of time here with other rodeo committees, talking to them, to where, this is kind of the ideal time. And then convention happens to where there's a lot of good topics that are brought up, roundtable discussions, and I think it helps all of us, as rodeo committees. And then this is, a good time for us to spend with our sponsors and even working with some of the contestants here.
Well, you're both on the executive council of PRCA. What does that mean and what does that entail? George?
Well, yeah, we were elected, James and I were both elected last January, February, and he represents the large rodeos, and I represent the at-large, so I get them all. I from all sizes, from the small, medium, large. It gives us a committee to where we have a voice to the PRCA Board of Directors. We actually appoint two of our members of our Executive Council to the Board of Directors. So 2 of the 9 Board of Directors at the PRCA are from the committees. And we're able to, the committees can reach out to us. I know that, and I'm sure James is the same way, that once we got elected to this position, our phone started ringing. So besides him running Red Bluff and me running Reno, we work with a lot of other committees. But that's the networking part of it that we have to continue to build. And the rodeo and the Western way of life, the style. Look at this NFR. I mean, this is my 28th year at the NFR. And compared to what it was then, compared to now, and even our convention, probably one of the best conventions we had, and our executive committee was able to help the PRCA put together the roundtable discussions that they had this year and help them to help educate rodeo committees. Truthfully, James and I, we can always learn from other rodeo committees, but we've got a lot more to give than we need to learn. And so we're able to help a lot of these smaller committees get through the bumps in the road because we've been there, we've seen it.
You guys both have, I know. So, James, future of rodeo and the PRCA, what do you see or what do you hope to see?
You know, I really think that the future of rodeo, I think it's going in the right directions. I think there's a lot of exciting things that's going to happen. But you know, kind of bringing on some rodeos, just like the American coming on board to the PRCA and Houston coming back, you know, and I think it's given these opportunities to our athletes, you know, to be able to win a lot of money and go to a lot more rodeos and better, I mean, good quality rodeos, and I think it's going to be really good for us. And the PRCA and even rodeo committees, rodeos, I mean, we need to go ahead and start moving forward. We can't kind of sit in the background and be watching out there. So.
Well, and talking about sitting in the background, you can't be with social media and all the technology today. How are both of your rodeos? We'll go to you first, George. Using that to your advantage.
It's nuts, is what it is. It's crazy. Instagram, Facebook. My president this year, Mike Trevinen, he started his own Reno Rodeo President's Instagram page, and I don't know how many. He's got hundreds of people following him. So wherever he goes, he's putting his experience through Instagram and the Facebook world. And our PR department and advertising committee is strongly changing to that. We moved a lot of our budget of funds for our advertising to the social media world because that's where it's at.
And how are you guys at Red Bluff? What's one of your biggest social media outlets that you can use? Or that you do
well, we
use?
definitely use social media and geofencing and kind of target our audience. I mean, and that's kind of why we all need to be moving forward in the way that the younger people are, and we're trying to attract newer fans and young fans. So these are the avenues that we need to go ahead and take. But we have a team also that handles just social media and advertising and just, you know, trying to target out there.
All right, I'm going to ask you both. One of the best, most unique things about your rodeo, if you're trying to sell people to come to Reno, George, what would you tell them?
Destination, one of the top 5-6 rodeos in the country, the opportunity to come and see the best of the best.
And James, you, what's your sales pitch?
Well, our rodeo is in April, so it's kind of like spring break time in Northern California. It is great weather, and what Red Bluff's really known for, of course, is nonstop action, but is the wild ride on Sunday, to where, you know, the saddle bronc riders get in costume and they ride saddle bronc horses. So it's definitely exciting to see what kind of new costume they might come up with.
That would be fun. Well, thank you both for joining me. I know you're very busy, and it's so great to hear the insight on rodeos, rodeo committees, and how busy you are. Everyone in this industry is pretty darn busy, which is great. So we have George Combs from Reno Rodeo and James Miller from the Red Bluff Roundup. I told you it's a tongue twister. Right here on NFR Extra, where it's all dirt, all rodeo, all year. Thanks for joining us.